It's a monumental day for Helldivers as we have now successfully liberated SONY HQ. And who knew this would go from great to terrible and back to great again in the span of just 48 hours? But it has, and there's lots coming in concerning what went down and also what we might expect in the near future. Welcome to the channel, it's LtBuzzLitebeer, and we have absolutely earned that extra 2 minutes of lunch break, especially after we were taking on 2 major orders at the exact same time. But, you know, for a Helldiver, that's all in a day's work. Thank you so much for your continued and awesome support for my channel and my content. In case you haven't done so already, please take just a moment to hit subscribe and to ring that notifications bell to get my recent upload alerts. And away we dive once more into Helldivers. Very quickly and mostly forgotten in the midst of our epic SONY battle, but we have a 2-day reset currently going on the Superstore featuring repeats like the SC-37 Legionnaire Light Armor with Servo Assisted, the SC-37 Legionnaire Helmet, the SC-15 Drone Master Helmet, aka Cade's Helmet from Destiny, and the SC-15 Drone Master Medium Body Armor with Engineering Kit. Also kind of lost in this, and I covered this in yesterday's video, but we managed to knock out the Mutant Bug TCS Major Order early, and so at the time of this upload, we currently do not have a new major order to take on, which, you know, was to be expected after what went down over this past weekend. Meridia is still off limits, and all 3 of the planets in the Draco sector are currently out of play unless we can liberate a planet like Hellmire to get access to those supply lines, and that is where the concentration of our diver forces seem to be right now. Also, today's daily order is to kill 10 enemies with the EAT, which should not be an issue for this S-tier stratagem, and it's still a one-shot kill to the head of a charger, which makes it extremely valuable. Net those 10 kills, bag those 15 medals, and you are that much richer for this Thursday when the new War Bond goes live. Now, on to the shot heard round the Helldiver galaxy. Hell, you could even say the shot heard round the gaming universe. SONY has now rescinded their decree to require PSN accounts for the PC portion of the player base, which, to be honest, I did not think would happen so fast. Now, I was always remaining positive that surely PlayStation would come to its senses, right? There was no way they would essentially make a huge bonfire out of $100 bills and just light it all up on fire just to make a dramatic point. But when you're dealing with corpos, you never know what's going to happen. Up is down, dark is light, you know, that sort of thing. The laws of logic cease to exist when the suits get involved. Helldivers fans, we've heard your feedback on the Helldivers 2 account linking update. The May 6th update, which would have required Steam and PlayStation Network account linking for new players and for current players beginning May 30th, will not be moving forward. We're still learning what is best for PC players, and your feedback has been invaluable. Thanks again for your continued support of Helldivers 2, and we'll keep you updated on future plans. Now, luckily for all of us, I have a rare corpo translator available to use on the statement, you know, to better understand what they are truly saying, and here it is. Our brazen attempt to go full Aragorn and storm the Black Gates with a frontal attack has failed for now. You may have won this round, but make no mistake, next time we won't be so obvious. You haven't seen The Last of Us. Love, your friends at SONY. Now, I happen to find this response from Gamers Nexus that kind of echoes what I just spelled out, albeit their response has much better flow to it, but you can bet this is just round 1 when it comes to the future of Helldivers. SONY is not used to getting their teeth kicked in. They're used to getting their way, and they won't be silent for long. Now, in terms of the end game, because with a corpo, it's always about the end game, the conversion of PC players to PSN accounts was just the appetizer. Arrowhead is and will continue to be the main course, that coveted prize behind door number 1, especially now that Helldivers has proven to be such a commercial smash hit. If you can't beat them, buy them. And for sure, Sony wants to be far more than just the publisher of this game. We're going to need to stay hyper vigilant against any future sneak attacks, which I expect to begin almost immediately. Of course, Johan, Arrowhead's CEO, was a bit more diplomatic about all of this, praising the willpower of the Helldivers community and especially our ability to collaborate. He thanked their partners over at PlayStation for making a swift decision to leave the PSN linking optional, which, if you step back and think about it, if Sony had really been pig-headed about all of this, we could have been in the trenches for much longer. But the question is, how much irreparable damage have they done with this 48-hour stunt? Johan finished up with a pseudo plea to improve the developer-publisher relations between Arrowhead and PlayStation. Now, in terms of the grand scheme of things, this fiasco touched all the far-reaching corners of Helldivers, and not just number 2, but the OG title as well. Divers were so pissed off at Sony, they went full Space Uzi on anything Helldivers, which included review bombing number 1, which came out in 2015. Now, in terms of some of the lead up to this final result with Sony eventually backing down, this past weekend saw a lot flying in from every which way. Johan actually harkened back to that disastrous Diablo Immortal BlizzCon "What? You guys don't have phones?" response when the crowd booed the presenters, as he tried to give us a brief rundown on what was going on kind of behind the scenes. Throughout the weekend, they were speaking with PlayStation, especially when it came to the PSN login requirements and how countries that did not have PSN would be directly affected. I believe this tweet was actually posted on Saturday, and looking back on it at that time, I think I was a bit concerned with the last part of his statement. I don't have the final say, which I guess is obvious. It was Sony that could either allow or deny that request. And at that point, when I read that tweet, I did start to get a bit concerned. I started to question, how much pull did Johan actually have? How much effect did all of the media coverage and the negative reviews have on the outcome of this debate? I mean, we now know the results, but 24 hours ago, everything was still in flux. There's also been a bit more of the development timeline spelled out in a further response, again from Johan, saying that Helldivers 2 was actually signed 8 years ago without details such as account linking. However, during development, it was deemed to be important for PlayStation to have it implemented, and it was just a few months prior to release. Now, when all hell broke loose at launch, the decision was made to turn it off or just risk the servers melting down, and that was met with negative feedback. Not the game itself, just the general technical state of the game at launch. PlayStation wanted it re-enabled, as he says, to help with moderation, and again, they knew there would be backlash here. And as of Friday, and the mandatory PSN announcement, there was backlash. And of course, we now know it is turned in favor of the players. And again, GG to all the divers that aided in the campaign to push back against Sony. This fact was also confirmed by Evil Boss, one of the Arrowhead team, with this post, and I do agree, we are great at working together. I mean, automatons, 2 billion bug major orders, unwinnable major orders, they've all kind of prepared the Helldivers for what took place over the last 48 hours, and that slogan down below, "We dive together or we don't dive," is really indicative of the community mantra. I also wanted to just loop back around, and I cannot stress enough how much of a huge, how much of a massive, how much of a, let's make up a word, ginormous deal this really is. This is something that's going to be discussed in video game history 5, 10, 20 years from now. Hey, do you remember how bad that Helldivers Sony thing was back in 2024? How quickly it went from hero to zero and back to hero? I mean, the fact that the players, the media, and all the social channels kind of rallied around this and pushed back that hard and with that much coordination, this really is a monumental achievement in terms of gaming in general and how consumers and corporations perceive who's in control. Johan actually jumped into this moment and weighed in on this experience, mentioning the accidental cape design posted by a community member, which apparently is now in the concept phase over at Arrowhead to serve as an everlasting memory of the player's victory. And in case you don't know, it mimics the negative review trend lines shown over on the Steam review section. But alas, Helldivers, our work is never through, and we've got a new major order, which by the way is entirely optional. It's up to you. Mission accomplished for now, and if you feel so inclined, mosey on over to your negative Steam review and turn that frown upside down. By the way, this is only worth 45 medals. I mean, come on, we just liberated the entire freaking game in real life. I mean, that's got to be worth at least a couple hundred medals, right? Anyways, again, GG's and huge congrats all around, divers. I mean, let's get back to spreading managed democracy without all of that extra BS. And here we go. Good thing I checked on this. Breaking news, we just got the new major order. It is once again over in Terminated controlled zones. The current briefing says the Terminated threat continues to evolve. Massive bug outbreaks have suddenly erupted on multiple planets. The spores that caused these outbreaks originated from the Meridian super colony. This is a new manifestation of termicide-induced adaptation. The super colony appears to be producing far more spores than other infested planets, leading to unpredictable outbreaks within its vicinity. The super colony is too thoroughly infested by any conventional operations there to have any effect. Our top scientists are researching effective countermeasures. For now, the Helldivers, and this doesn't really make sense, I guess it's missing some words, but must be contain these outbreaks immediately before they spread out of control. Anyways, let's check out what the current major order is. And through the power of the galaxy map, we're now over to the actual major order. This is a 4-day major order for 40 medals, and we've got to liberate 4 planets, and these should look familiar to you. Heath, Veld, and Angel's Venture we've all been on before, and then we're going to add into the mix Akamar 4. So we've got 4 planets over in Bugsville that all need liberation. Again, Heath, Veld, Angel's Venture, and Akamar 4. And also, I wanted to make one final amendment to this video. It just came to me. I just checked over on the Steam page. Right now, PlayStation has only made that announcement that they're rescinding the PSN linked accounts requirements over on Twitter. If you take a look at the Steam page, and I just took this screenshot, they haven't changed the verbiage over here. It still says exactly as it said the other day, requires third-party account, PlayStation Network, supports linking to Steam accounts. So I wanted to make note of that. They haven't changed anything on the Steam page yet. Remember to hit subscribe and to ring that notifications bell to receive my latest upload alert. All my socials, including an open invite link to my fast-growing Helldivers Discord community, can be found in the video description below. Shout out to the nearly 224,000 of you legends out there. Your continued support is just the best, and I count on it day in and day out. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.